Okay, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. It's a new month, new week, and a new year. Okay, happy new year to everyone, all the viewers. Happy new year, all the subscribers. Thank you so much for being here with me on my journey. Thank you so much for just supporting me in one way or another, encouraging me and telling me how much good work I'm doing and actually inspiring you guys to, show you the things that maybe you have been missing in your trading journey. So welcome back. This is JSM FX. Myself, I'm Arnold Anuro, and I'm about to, dig deep into the analysis, and this is JSM to where we welcome back to JSM where we do analysis, reviews, and also forecast. That is the reviews of the last week and then the forecast for next week. So for this week, we'll be looking at the reviews of the date of 5th to 9th January 2026, and then the reviews for 5th to 9th, and forecast for 12th to 16th. There's so much that has been happening, so much that has transpired during the holidays of December. Myself also, I didn't trade until late December, I think 29th, and I'll show you that in just a bit. But for now, welcome to JSM. This is where we look at halal compounding, okay? We look at the strategies, we look at the focus. We also learn some few things here and there to also show you how trading is done. Okay, so I don't want to jump around so much, but I just want to welcome you back, and yeah, get ready, strap up, and let us begin our analysis. Okay, so just as usual, we'll start over with the news, and we'll look at the calendar to see what we could be expecting coming next week. Last week we actually witnessed the NFP done on Friday, and a couple of news that did happen. Myself also, I wasn't that active. By the way, right now I'll be very much busy, but I'll try and squeeze time for guys in the group so that I can give them, setups and ways to look at the trade for the week. If you're not in my Telegram group or also on TikTok, let me know in any area. My username is jsmfx.ke23. Okay, jsmfx.ke23. You can look me up on TikTok and also Telegram. Okay, and also YouTube right here, where now we do the analysis. So if you feel like I'm giving you so much value, let me know in my inbox or also in the comment section, and I will look to send you the link. Actually, I'll put in the link on YouTube, and if you are in TikTok, send me an inbox, and I'll forward you the link for you to join my areas of community. Okay, so starting off with the news for next week, we're looking at here Monday 12th of January. Well, for me, I don't trade this much, and I think before we go all the way there, let's try and filter these areas of impact, medium, and leave the high only, and I think that will be okay. So let me apply that so that we are left with only high impact news. So coming in on Monday, we have the ECB Gondor speech, I think from the Euros, and this is not bad. This is at least something I'll be very watchful of, but not really that important to me. Tuesday, we have so much that's going to happen. We have the CPI right here. Actually, the CPI, for me, that will be something that I'll be very, very watchful and mindful about. So yeah, looking forward to see what CPI will do on Tuesday. And Wednesday, we have the PPI, which is not bad also. I think next week it's going to be busy, especially for the way the US have gone back to work. The government have lifted the ban, so that they can continue with their jobs. So I think we're gonna have more data coming in next week, and see on how they are resuming back to work, and what data they have collected, or they'll also be looking at from all these news that we're expecting. Thursday, yes, this is well, partially important and relatively, but for me, that won't be important with the initial jobless claims. Yeah, because for the NY Empire State Manufacturing, yes, here something might happen, but because of the pairs that I trade, the Euro USD, USD CHF, also the DAX, but not that much. But because of those US pairs, I feel, yeah, something could be happening here. And given the fact that I'll also be involved when trading the US pairs, or rather the USD pairs, then that means um, I'll be very watchful of those news that I've just talked about. So I think that's that's just all for now on the news. So let us now jump into my account and see what has been happening, see how I have been faring, how I closed in the last year, and how and what I'll be looking at. I'll be looking to see or expect, anticipate, or even work hard on this year. Okay, from my account, as you can see, things went a little bit shaky, and yeah, it was on the verge of, going back to break even, but that wasn't the case later, especially this week. So I've chosen, by the way, if if there's one thing that I've decided this year, I am going to go swing trading. I'm going to be a swing trader, and that is what I feel is working for me. And I'll give you all the reasons as you continue in this video, so that you see on why I am deciding on that, and how also it's impacting my metrics, to show you how everything, is working out very well. Starting off with the balance, as you can see, we are up again, but back up to that level of 5%, where, as you can see, the last 5% that was there was 52,598, but this time it's 25, sorry. Yeah, 52, 542. So for me, I think I'm back again on track, but also looking to see on how I will get back up and, hitting those profit targets. For this one, right, by the way, this one is first one. I will not hide anything from you. I'll not keep anything from you, but this one is first one. So I am really going very, very slow, and wanting to understand my strategy, my age, my risk management, and also build my psychology. Okay, so this is just one of the accounts I'm going to show you and how I am progressing. For my stats, as you can see, the discipline score is still at 93%, which is very much okay. For here on the objectives, so far trading days have been 53. Maximum daily loss, I've only managed to put in -1%. By the way, this year, I'm going to talk about percentage more than just the numbers, because I feel the percentage motivate me and look to, show me how disciplined I am in my trading. Maximum loss, as you can see, I've only managed 0.2%, so that's okay, translating to $149, or rather minus $149. And then the profit target, that's where things are, showing a bright light at the end of the tunnel, where we have 2,542, meaning that will translate to 5%. So as you can see here, permitted today's permitted loss is back at its normal initial amount. Maximum permitted loss, also I've increased it to 7,542. And also, yeah, today's profit, I think we'll just see it when we get to the calendar. Statistics, this is where now rubber meets the road. With the equity and the balance, we have also seen that from up above there. Win rate, this is where I am very much impressed with my trading, because the win rate has gone up from 47 to 51. Why? Because I refined myself to only focus on the higher time frame trades, and also build up my psychology by being patient, and looking at my risk tolerance in depth. Okay, and also keeping calm, letting my trades run out well, and making peace with the losses also. That means if my price hits the stop loss, then everything will just be okay, and we'll move on to the next setup. Now, average profit, we can see there is 155, average loss 106, so meaning that's a good thing for me. Number of trades, I'm not actually happy with this one. because with everything that has been happening, we see that the number of trades are very, very many. So I'll only look to see how I have performed and what I can achieve out of 100 trades. So I'm waiting to, make another 8 trades and see what will happen according to my data and statistics when I get to 100 trades. So total loss that I've used so far is 78. Sharp ratio is right there. Profit factor, right now I'm trying to peruse through because, I don't know much about sharp ratio and profit factor, also expectancy, and also the average RR. Okay, for the average RR, yes, this I can say that it is 1.47 because I take partials. I mostly take partials on the way. Okay, but I'm trying to see on what my data will tell me this year into building or focusing on building my psychology into telling myself to just let my profits run and get to my take profit as planned. Okay, so getting now down to the trading channel, we see that this is the month of January, but before that, let's just go to December 1st, and you can see the way December performed. I didn't, okay, let me just start from November. So November, we closed in with, I think, 2.3%, if I'm not wrong. And as you can see, those are the trades that happened. For this one in November, I think this was just one trade with taking off partials, as you can see. This here also, it was 2 trades. So for this one, it was a loss. I think this one was just one of the trades that I took in the lower time frames, which wasn't, I think this was one of the last trades I was taking in my lower time frame, so that, I get to see later on that I'm actually good in the higher time frames and the lower time frames. So this one, I'm guessing this one was good trade on the high time frames, which gave me a good profit. And yeah, so we closed in with a 2.3%, and that was good. But until December, things were not going well for me. So for this one, I can say this was just impulse trades that I took, which later on gave me a very, very um very big disappointment in my losses, which I ended up losing 2% again. So January, this being the first week, actually, I've closed down. I've closed out on 2% for this week, and yeah. By the way, this year I want to look at how I'm going to gather my data to see on how I am doing and how I am faring on the much percentage that I'll be making every month. So far so good. This is 2%, and as you can see, this is the first trade. Okay, I think this was USD CHF, and this should be Euro USD. Okay, but we'll look at that from the charts. Close trades just as usual from 5th of January right here. As you can see, things went out very well. So we have a couple of profits there from USD CHF and also Euro USD right here and also right here. So giving us a very good response and also a bounce back up to our, let's just say, a break even to this point where I left it last. I think this was on November 20th November. So yeah, let's really grateful to Jesus Christ, my Lord Jesus Christ, for giving me that kind of ability, knowledge, and wisdom to get to where I am today, and hopefully rising back up to continue with my journey and also gaining my profit. So I don't want to speak so much on my data and everything. Let's now jump to the pragmatic side of trading and look at the charts. So starting off with the DAX, starting off with the Germany 40. I'll be honest to say I am a little disappointed with what happened here, because I was anticipating for price to continue to the downside to at least come and mitigate this POI or other demand, but that wasn't the case. So as you can see, price had has continued to go up and also breaching this supply. So meaning technically we're just in an uptrend. For me, I am not really focusing on this pair this year that much. I'll just be watching and seeing monitoring it to see what will happen and what will transpire, and see to get to see if I'll have any opportunities, but I'll only be posting them in my Telegram group. For now, I'm going to give this pair a break, because whatever I'm seeing here is not actually that much palpable, because we see the price. Let me just draw on it. We see price coming up here and then creating that demand to push price up. Long wick back to mitigate this demand and also take out some few liquidity points or other areas from this sell side uh, uh, point, or rather area, and then we see another push to the upside and then another pullback, push to the upside to wick out that last high, and then we came and took out these are several lows right here and also this low, and then from there now we see price shooting back up. For me, I was expecting at least a push to this supply and then continue to the downside, but that wasn't the case. So price has gone up, and I can tell for sure, for me, now I'm less interested. Now I'm less interested, because if you check very well, number one, even if we zoom out, as much as this is a free paid plan for this pair, even if we zoom out, we are not seeing any areas of a reaction, any areas of supply where price is reacting from. So you see, for me, that leaves me a little bit clueless, to anticipate any area of movement when it comes to this pair. Number two, we have this move to the upside after the pullback. Okay, we have the move to the upside, but before it breaks to the upside like that, we see price reacted with this week and this week, okay, to cause that exchanging wicks and then push to the upside. So meaning, if I am going to be interested in this pair, I'll be looking at levels like this one. So let me just draw on it real quick for me to show you levels like this one, where I'll be anticipating price to at least come back down there and then continue to the upside. Well, that is one thing that is one thing that I'll be looking at, and how I look at the demand and supply areas where I'll be focusing on. But for me right now, the DAX is not just my cup of tea right now, so I'm just going to maintain or stick to my usual Euro USD USD CHF. Anyway, weekly. Now, weekly played out very well, by the way. Weekly, for me, I feel if you are a swing trader, this would have been a very good move. Again, I say, after that pullback, we had this inside bar for the last pullback, which pushed price to the upside. And then when it came down, it caused a change of character. So I was expecting with this inside bar, price would at least, mitigate this supply right here and then go to the downside. But as you can see from this ascending triangle, price broke to the upside like that and then came back with this wick, okay, this candle to that demand, and then shot to the upside. So meaning, here, right here, from this demand, if you would have been monitoring price, then this would have been a very good trade from this demand right here, from here, and then play that long swing to the upside. Okay, so this would have been a very good setup, but still I was very much less interested in this pair. But good thing this demand held very well, and coming in this year, sorry, 2026, we can see from this red line, this is my January line, and as you can see, it has already started off with the upward momentum and also breaking out this high. Okay, so meaning January maybe could be the one that will push price to the upside, and maybe February possibly they could be doing that pullback or something. But I'm not a guru, I'm not an advisor, that's just my opinion. The daily, like I said, I was expecting after that pullback to the downside, like that, causing that weekly change of character, I saw so many potentials four downside moves because we also had the daily change of character here. So for me, this was the last supply that I was expecting price to come to and then continue to the downside. But that wasn't the case. As you can see also, I actually talked to my group and I told them that they can also take that trade. So for anyone that took it, I am sure from this point you can see, let me just draw in. You can see price came down, okay, and then shot to the upside only to this exchanging week supply, and then came down and then went to the upside. This after this pullback, it pushed to the upside, and then price came down again to this whole sell to buy range, meaning price sold and then bought. So it is sell to buy range because this pullback started from here. So the demand started from there with this green box, as you can see, and also this light blue box, which is the weekly, yeah, which is the weekly demand that we just saw. That's the weekly box which price came and touched and then moved to the upside. So myself, I told guys when price reached here, I noticed that this was a demand that could hold, okay. So what happened is I told them to just move their stop loss to break even and let us wait to see how price will play out. So I think safe to say they were secured with a break even at this point, and then losses were not incurred. It was a risk-free trade. Again, also this supply was another target for me, but this time I just wanted to be patient and see what could transpire. So we had the move to the upside up until there, and then a little pullback. So if price would have come up like that and then caused that change of character from this line that I just drew to expect it, then a supply here would have been a very good area of interest where we would, look to see on how we could have gotten involved and play the pullback, or rather the change of direction to the downside like that. But that wasn't the case. As you can see, after the pullback right here, price just went up and continued running. So for me right now, nothing is visible right on this pair. So I'll just leave it, to play out on its own and wait for any development that will come in. But if you ask me on what maybe I would be expecting from the DAX, is I'll just be expecting to play some sells. So unless that is visible or shows itself in the latter days, for now nothing is happening for me. Even if we look at the 4 hour, we can see it is all just upward moves and upward moves. So I cannot actually tell, I cannot actually tell to say that maybe we could be pulling back from there. But 4 hour would be a good choice for me to see on how I'll be expecting price to play out coming in possibly next week or maybe this year. For now, I'm only seeing that with this red line where my year started, this is the first week. Between this blue line and this blue line, this is the first week. So let's see, maybe next week things might change and they'll want to make some few pullbacks. And speaking of pullbacks, we have a couple of demands that we'll be targeting on, like this one, and also this for me is liquidity. This one here is liquidity, and this is the next demand that possibly I'll be looking at to get involved before maybe getting involved and seeing on how I can maximize on my profits with the buys. But for now, let's just see what possibility I could be or we could be having as a group or community, the possibilities of sales coming in possibly this year or also maybe next week. So that's just it from the DAX. Let's now move to USD CHF and see what we have in store. Okay, so USD CHF, a lot is to be talked about here. So please strap up and get ready for some information and more information. So starting off from the monthly, you can see very well that price shot to the upside range for a very, very, very long time. Okay, range for a very long time, especially here, and then suddenly, or rather finally, got to move to the downside to actually mitigate this week. Okay, so right now again we are back to another range, and possibly price could continue to the downside, because if you check very well, we also have okay, we also have a bullish flag here, which maybe has been broken and possibly price could be continue to the downside. If you ask me, okay, I feel this range is from this week right here. I feel this range is just an inducement to actually now start or change direction to the upside to come and mitigate, especially this supply above here. That is my opinion. Okay, I'm not advising anyone to take or maybe get involved in any buys right now, but that's just my opinion. So for me, this range I feel is just an inducement to tell guys, keep selling. But I'm anticipating for at least price to push up, but obviously we'll have to look at more conferences in the lower time frames and also see on how much possible or probable that could turn out to be. So maybe if they do go to the upside, we'll have that change of character happening on the monthly, and so we'll be looking for any areas of demand right here and then play the pullback. Okay, play the pullback to the upside to either that supply or maybe the one above that we just saw when I zoomed out. Secondly, what is more important right now, what is paramount, or rather first things first, is this is the supply. Let me just move that. This is the supply that I'm still looking at, okay, and expecting price to bounce off from there and then continue to the downside. But just in that case where it will be breached to come to this supply, then I'll be looking for any areas of demand here and play that pullback to the upside. Weekly, also weekly, very tricky, because as you can see, price has shot to the upside, causing a change of character, a bullish change of character on the weekly. Let me just zoom in. Let me just zoom in. So this is the first supply. Okay, this is the first supply. Let me remove that. This is the first supply that we just saw in the monthly. Okay, but if you look at lower time frames, especially the weekly, it has been very much mitigated by these weeks, as you can see right here. Okay, so nothing much to be seen from here, from this supply, because I feel, to me, business was already done around here. But what is going on is we have the move to the downside, okay, and price respecting most of the supplies like that. Okay, like that, and then going to the downside. Let me just extend that, and then we have this move back to this supply, and then price went down but didn't break the last low. Okay, instead it pushed up and causing the weekly change of character. So what does that mean? We could possibly be looking at change of direction to the upside. Okay, so meaning now this is my demand, but we look at it in the lower time frame to see how strong it is. This is my demand where I'll be anticipating for price to at least come back to, and then possibly continue to the upside, because why? We also have all these areas of liquidity building or sitting up here. Okay, so I'll be expecting to see what will turn out, or rather what will play out at that level, and yeah, what will transpire. So let's move in now to the daily, where things have now heated up to actually seeing on how we are depicting this analysis, this pair from that time frame. So starting off with the market structure, we have this low, okay, building that high, or rather creating that high, and then coming down to break this low. Okay, so later on we see move to the upside, okay, from this demand right here, and then causing that change of character. I've actually explained about this structure in my previous videos. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, price went to the upside, came back down to take out all these liquidity areas and also mitigate this demand, and then push price up. So if you check very well, also we have that bullish flag that we saw on the monthly and weekly. On the daily now, price came and respected it right there, and also causing that double bottom, which I always say that that double bottom is a liquidity for me. So as you can see, price went back up to mitigate the supply and then came back down to these exchanging wicks, only for them to come and take guys out here. But there was I traded on one of the supplies around here, but I was taken out later. Very painful loss, but it's okay. I got back up, dusted off my shoulders, and I continued with my analysis and trading. So from that point, we see that actually it wanted to just mitigate the supply and then short to the upside, the downside. So right here, price ranged. As you can see right here, price range, and then short to the downside again to actually take that double bottom that we saw, or rather talked about just few minutes ago. And as you can see now, price came up very well to that supply, which would have expected, okay, we would have expected this supply to at least push price lower to this week, okay, WICK demand, and then short to the upside from there. But that wasn't the case. So what they're doing is they've just come in deeper, okay, deeper inside this demand. Okay, they've just come in deeper that demand from here, and they short to the upside. So meaning after this move to the downside like that, um, this was the demand that I was looking at. Okay, this was the demand I was looking at to see if it will be breached, because after this move to the upside like this with that candle, okay, after this move to the upside like this next candle came in down again. Okay, so that was telling me two things: either this was just liquidity grab from here and price will continue to the downside to finally mitigate that WICK weak demand, but that wasn't the case. So I told myself that if this demand right here was to hold, then this will now be the actual pullback that will happen either to this daily supply that was left pending after taking out all the liquidities right there. So that was the case actually, because as you can see, for the benefit of hindsight, that price actually shot to the upside and came in and wanting, or rather expecting, to come into this supply and and mitigate it. So I also shared this trade in my group, telling guys that when price came in deeper inside this demand, I told them to place in their buy stop orders there. I'm sure they got tagged right here. Price pulled back a little bit to the entry, and then finally short to the upside, also getting more support with the NFP that actually happened. Okay, so that is just one of the trades that I shared in the group, and how maybe guys put in their trades. Okay, 4 hour, now this is where I got very much involved, and I'm really glad that I did, because yeah, it was a very good trade, first trade of the year and a good profit. So I think from this trade was around 2nd of December. This was one of the losses. Okay, the losses that we just saw on December. This was one of the losses that actually brought me back down to 2% down. So yeah, that is just one of the trades. But after dusting myself off, I had to get back up, and continue to watch the market. So as you can see, this was where now price shot to the downside. Okay, and then we also have a change of character here on the 4 hours. So price went up to that supply and then came down to that demand to mitigate it after the change of character. Remember, we always talk about change of character being broken, price coming back to an area of interest, either the supply or demand, and then continue, or rather reversing to the direction that it's supposed to go. So again, when price went up, okay, it came back down. Okay, came back down to this huge demand, but also the WICK demand right here for me, which this now was one of the trades that I took late December, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 30th, late December, I took and placed in my, actually this was a direct execution. Okay, and then I put in my trade there, tagged me in, and then short to the upside, anticipating this pullback now, anticipating this pullback to that daily green see this daily green supply, which I was anticipating for price to, continue with its downward move from that point. But that wasn't the case. For me, I was just aiming that level of point of interest, and getting to get stopped out. But also, when price got to this level, what I did is I took partials on the way, and then I trailed my stop loss to there. So you see this one called trail, SL trail. So that's where I trailed my stop loss and then left price to continue in any direction that it wanted to go. So for this case, even as I left it price range and then came back to take me out with my stop loss trail and then continue to the upside. So again, when it continued to the upside, I noticed that this daily supply had been broken. Price has taken out liquidity from here and mitigated that supply. So coming back down, it came back to another, remember, another WICK, weak demand, and that's when I placed in a second buy stop right here. This was a direct execution, but this was a buy stop order, which now got tagged. It got tagged and then price shot to the upside. So this is just the week and how it played out. It started off from here up to here. So right now we want to see how the next week will play out, coming in on the 12th of January. So buy stop placed, price went up. So as you can see, price came down and then shot to the upside, then came back down with this, came back down with this demand with this candle to mitigate this demand and then short to the upside. So I want you to notice one thing. You see how price went up, and then every time it comes down and build another high, it came back down to that demand. Okay, this is just smart money concept rule book in how we look at areas or point of interest on how price is reacting from. So again, price went to the upside, came back, reacted to this demand, and then shot to the upside. So just like that, we could be trickling to the upside and also creating corrective pullbacks, either to that supply and possibly see how price will also react from this area. So for now, I will be patient, okay, because I'm out of my trades. I was out here, and I was out here because I didn't want my trades to play out in the pro firms, because most of them don't allow the news trading. Okay, so I just got out before the NFP. I wish I would have left it. I would have still be enjoying more profits, but still, that is just part of my psychology. I went out and I also told myself that let me just get out, because since the weekend is coming, I want one to get involved in the swap fees that happen every weekend. Those things, by the way, they're very expensive and they're very annoying. Okay, so if for me as a swing trader, I am looking to, one of my plans is looking to get out on Friday on my trades, so that I can get to save my account balance and looking to see on where I will start next week from that point, avoiding those swap fees that actually do happen. So from that corrective pullback that is happening, I would want to see how price will behave from this supply, okay, and also this supply right here of the 4-hour, this daily supply of the green one, and also the brown one on the 4-hour supply. Okay, so that's just what I'll be expecting to see on USD CHF, and also how I'm looking at it from the swing point of view. So also, if you have any questions, let me know in my comment section, and I will see on how fast I will respond so that I can get to answer you. But for now, that's just all for USD CHF. Let's now look at Euro USD as we also close out on this episode. Okay, just as usual, last but not least, let us look at Euro USD and see what we have in store. Starting off from the monthly, very, very interesting. Price did create that high and then broke its low. Okay, price broke its low to the downside, and then we had that change of character here. Price came back after this long range. Okay, price came back down to take out all those liquidity and then shot to the upside. So this shoot to the upside, two things: either it's coming to this supply and then reacting from it, but we see here that We see here that price just took out liquidity from those highs, and then possibly could be the reason now, wanting to come back down. But let us look at it in depth to see if that is possible. So we see a move to the downside right there to this demand, okay, and then price pushed up to actually take out those highs like I just mentioned, and then price has come back down. Okay, so it has come back down to this demand. Okay, now we could be anticipating so much. Okay, number one is the upward trend to continue to this supply. Remember this supply after this change of character, price could be eyeing to come to that supply before continuing to the downside. If you ask me, I feel this whole delay could be another pullback just to induce more sellers. Okay, and that's why I have this virtual trade that I'll be expecting to monitor and see how it will play out if it gets tagged, and also if it breaches this demand and also this demand, to see if that pullback will be possible, either maybe to this demand or also these exchanging wicks. But I'm not a guru, I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not telling you to take that sell trade now. Obviously, so many things have to be considered and also risks at the same time. But for now, this is the demand that's holding. It could be the one that could be used to push price to the upside to that supply, and possibly maybe look for another confluences, change of character, look for the supply, and then play that pullback to that demand. All this is just probability. But because that is the higher time frame, we can't really say much from what is going on right there. On the weekly, excuse me, things could things could turn out visible and also possible for things to play out. One thing I've also gathered in my data is how price actually reacts, or rather plays out during the year. Okay, so as you can see, let's just start from with the year in the weekly. This was my January 2025, and as you can see, the whole of 2025 up until June, price has been pushing up, and then from June, price ranged, from that low and between that low and that high. And as you can see, price has also taken a pause, inside this supply, giving us that confusion either it wants to buy or sell. For me, I can say that, let me now start going step by step. For me, I can say that after this move to the upside, we have liquidity taken with that wick from this low, and then move to the upside again, creating another demand right here, and then push price to the upside, which came back down, range a little bit, broke it a little, and then finally close below it to cause that change of character on the weekly. Okay, so after change of character, what do we say? We look for that pullback to either, in this case, the supply, which is actually this one. And then from this supply, we see now price is pushing to the downside. So two things for me, I can say, is either price comes down to this demand to react from it and then continue to the upside, or breaches, okay, breaches that demand right there, maybe come over to this low, creating some another relative double bottom, okay, just to build on more liquidity. And then we will look for supply areas around there, and then look to play out that pullback to that demand, which we actually saw also on the monthly. So those are just one of the confluences and probabilities that I'll be looking at. Another confluence is that price has been shooting to the upside all through the year of 2025. So possibly 2026 could be changing direction to actually do a little bit of some pullbacks before maybe looking to see on how it could react from this demand, or this demand, or maybe this whole sell to buy demand. Okay, so all those are just areas that I'll be looking at to see if the sell opportunity comes in. I'll be looking to put in my targets around this area or this area. So that's just the weekly. Let's now look at the daily. So daily, the narrative is a bit different because we are still in an uptrend on the daily. So I won't really want to explain much because I will really step on so many people's toes coming from the higher time frames and how I have been looking to anticipate the sells to the downside, we can see very well that daily is giving us a very different narrative, because this was a low which broke to the upside. So after that upward move or break to the upside, we see that we have moved to the pullback to actually the extreme areas of the discount areas, and then we see another move to the upside to change direction and causing that uptrend to now start. So it is now from this point that this low was broken and price has come down. So anything can happen right now, because technically we see from the daily price is actually, continuing with its uptrend. But what I'm, really focusing on is if this demand gets breached and closed below, then maybe I'll be looking for any areas of supply around here, you know, and maybe, excuse me, play the move to the downside either to this demand, and then wait to see how this price will react from that demand, to maybe look at any possibilities of some pullbacks like that. And maybe if there'll be any other supply running around here, obviously this weekly demand will be breached by that time, so meaning now we could be having more evidence that maybe we will be selling from there. Opposite also from USD CHF, like we said on USD CHF on the high time frames, we're looking to buy, anticipating to buy. So Euro USD for me, I'll be anticipating to sell. So from that supply, maybe now we'll be looking for any areas of supply and sell from there. Okay. So that's just some of the conferences that I'm looking at on the higher time frames. 4 hour. Now this is where things get interesting. So let's just try and go through them a little bit. First and foremost, I will zoom out and try and do a quick recap before we continue. So still my 4 hour structure is still playing around this low and that high, and as you can see, price has pulled back significantly to that areas of the discount, and then we see price changing direction to the upside. So meaning this was good news, because after it came back up to this area of supply on the daily right here, okay, as you can see from here, it came in right there, and then price now changed direction to the downside, breaking my trend line, and also respecting the areas of supply that were formed to push price to the downside. So starting off from here, we have this change of character. Price shot up. I have explained about this trade in my previous videos, so I won't repeat it right now. So we have moved to the upside like that. Price came back down. I'm trying to move in quickly to that sell to buy range, and then short to the upside again to continue with the upward move. So this was a trade that I missed. I think I explained that in one of my previous videos on YouTube. If you haven't seen that, go and check and see how it will happen. But just in a nutshell, this was the demand that actually price reacted from, and they shot to the upside. So this for me was a missed trade. Every time you see this purple and red box, just know that's a missed trade for me. And yeah, I let it play out and look to see if I could get another opportunity. So up until here, we see price respecting that supply to push price down lower, only for it to come to that demand and then short to the upside, and also creating that excuse me, bearish flag, which later on got broken. And also this was around December, so I wasn't that much active, but for the case of the analysis, we have to look at it. So up until there, we see price pushing up to the supply, okay, and then coming down to that demand, okay, which reacted from the supply. See that supply right here? It reacted from the supply and then short to the upside again. Okay, so until here now, I think this was 29th December. This was when now price caused a change of character and then now change direction. Okay, so 30th, 31st, we see price preparing to move to the downside, and then when the new year came in, it was now official that price came down like that, push again to that supply, and then now uh, finally got to get a clear trend to the downside after the breach of this demand. So what happened here is price came down, okay, to that demand. So we would have expected for it to react from and then shoot to the upside, but that wasn't the case. So what happened is a couple of pullbacks were created there, and this was the last supply that pushed price lower and then came back up to that supply again, and then that's when I placed in my sell stop order, okay, and then price tagged me to continue to the downside. So one thing is I was targeting for price to at least come down to this demand. You see this demand, but as you can see, NFP danced around here with this candle, this one here, and then price again continued to shoot to the downside, taking out liquidity of this demand and also coming down deeper into this demand. So for now, it is playing around this top bottom and this bottom, okay. So if you ask me, I'm looking at this as double bottom again. Like I said, double bottom and double tops for me are pullbacks. Sorry, are liquidity points. Okay, so right now we see we had another pullback and then push to the downside, and then we had another pullback to that supply, which later on pushed price to the downside after NFP. So what am I looking at next? Because for this trade, I am already out. Okay, it actually hit my 3R. I already taken my partials, and because we're still in the pro farm grounds, we want to also observe the rules. So I was out. Um I came out of my trades, closed them early, before, I think 2 hours before NFP, so that I don't breach my the rules and also my account, lose my account. So for now, after this pullback, we see a move to the downside, hitting my 3R. What I'm seeing right now is possibly that this is my internal boss, or rather internal structure high, which I'll be expecting for price to at least pull back to that supply, which I'm still anticipating for price to come to, okay, and then look to get involved around this area to continue with the sell. Okay, so anything can happen. Price could actually continue just directly to that demand down there. Okay, the demand down there, but either way, we just have to let next week unfold on its own and see what we can or we will have in store. So for now, that's just the analysis on Euro USD and how I took that trade, and how I actually shared this with the group, and one of the members told me, "Thank you so much, Arnold. That was a very nice trade." And as much as it was a swing trade, they had to be patient to wait for it for a couple of days, I think 2 3 days, to actually play out. So for me, this is the structure now. As you can see, low, high, lower low, lower high, and then this possibly could be the lower low. And if it does happen to be the lower low, then I'll be looking to play that pullback to this supply, okay, to actually anticipate that lower high again before we continue to see if we can get another lower low to the downside later on. So my next week will start off from this blue vertical line up to here. So I'll want to see how things will play out. If you've noticed, I've not gone down to the 15 minutes because it is also noisy down there. And also for higher time frames, like you see how comfortable it can get, for you to just monitor how trades are really going in or going on, sorry. Okay, because if you check from my entry right here, if you check very well, yes, price danced around here for a couple of hours and days, but I was just patient, I was just calm, making peace with my losses, telling myself that if it does breach this last supply, then it will be an accepted loss, and I'll be looking maybe to wait for price to get here and then play the move to the downside. Actually, if it did get here, if it did get here taking me out, then I would have been also active on that area, and then look to continue to the downside again. Okay, and also giving me more proof that they've built more liquidity from this low and also a couple of relative lows around there. So yeah, this would have also been a very good area of supply to look to trade from and continue to the downside. Excuse me. So let's just wait to let's wait and see what will happen next week and how everything will play out. So I don't have much, guys. That's just it from my side, and that's just how I look at my areas of trades and how I take them. All of my analysis, all I can say is it's been a good year last year, where we were, for me, I was identifying my age, I was identifying my psychology, I was building my psychology, and also getting to see how my risk is actually, how healthy my risk is and how tolerant it can get. Okay, so yeah, so that's just the analysis for this week and the forecast for next week. And let's see what will happen. If you've not joined my Telegram group or also my TikTok, let me know in my this comment section. But I'll also leave the link there for you guys to join and see on how um, beneficial I can be for you coming in this year. So this year it's all about, this year for me it's all about halal compounding, and it's also all about withdrawals. It's about withdrawals. It's about building my psychology, getting my act straight, getting my risk in check, and also yeah, getting those withdrawals, getting those payouts. Okay, this year is about, building now, getting back now all that I've used to, purchase my account and show what my skills are actually made of. So I don't have much. You guys have a nice week, have a nice month, and also have a successful year 2026. I'm out. Peace.